Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wasallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, ever since Yusuf Al-Qaradawi died, ghafar Allahu lah wa rahimah, there's been a lot of controversy and a lot of infighting happening among the ranks of Muslims in general, and then among the different sects in particular. And I've been meaning to discuss this issue for some time, and I kept just kind of putting it off and postponing it. And I don't want to be part of the problem, to be honest with you. I've shared my views in a very minimal manner, but then Brother Haji, may Allah reward him, had to say something about it, and that kind of gave me the opportunity to also say something a little more official. I would like to first appreciate Brother Haji's switch in attitude. I think our correspondence last time has had a positive impact. I didn't respond to his last video just because I didn't want to make it drag it any further. I took the points that he highlighted though, and it seems that he's taken some of the points that I've highlighted as well. So I saw that in his video he simply has a problem with me, which is completely fine. He could have a problem with my position and the position of the so-called pseudo-Salafis. As long as there's no personal insults in the matter, then that would make it better for everybody. So that's something you got to appreciate. Let's just hear a couple of things, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on what he says. I want to spend a lot more time on the actual issue. So let's just hear him out.
إلى يوم الدين ما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. As you are all aware by now, I'm sure, that Shaikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi rahmatullah alayhi has passed away at the age of 96, tabarakallah. So as you can see on screen, you got the official Twitter page of Shaykh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi rahmatullah alayh, and it mentions intaqala ila rahmatillah, that Shaykh has gone to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It mentions his name, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon him in his life, the clarity of the rulings of Islam and the defense of the ummah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise his rank in al-'Aliyin, and it continues on. So Shaykh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi rahmatullah alayh, born in Egypt, graduate from Al-Azhar. You can see on screen my brother Higab posted a tweet saying, "To Allah we belong, and to him we return. Shaykh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi is returned to his Lord. May Allah forgive him, shower him with his boundless mercy, and grant his love."
Of course. So many of these du'at suddenly remembered Yusuf Al-Qaradawi. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, the one who set the tone for Yasir Qadi. If you want to see an American subcontinent version of the Egyptian Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, look no further than what's his name? Yasir Qadi, who basically adopted 80% of his views, his demeanor, his positions, his confusion, the whole shebang. He brought the whole thing on. Allah al-Musta'an. Muhammad Hijab and so many others of these brothers. We didn't see much when some of the Sunni mashayikh passed away. Not surprised. But now, mashallah, tabarakallah, all of these emotional feeds and tweets come into play. That's because of affiliations and because of a lot of things. I will highlight some of them soon, inshallah.
Want patience and contentment. So our brother Abu Mussab Wajdi Akkari,
yeah, that's me. Okay, here's what I said.
Allah guide him and guide us. Responded to Brother Higab's tweet and said, "What sad state you du'at have reached. You don't differentiate between guided scholars, okay, and evil ones." Now when they say guided scholars, they mean the Najdi scholars, or those who follow this sort of.
The Najdi scholars. You see, that's Brother Haji. Come on, akhi. Wallah al-Azim, come on. Why would you guys assume that the only scholars are Najdi scholars? They could be a scholar. I know scholars in America. I know scholars in Europe. I know scholars in the entire world. People that we consider to be whether scholars or students of knowledge or mashayikh. Wallahi, they're not restricted to the Najdi ones. I don't know what you mean by Najdi. Is it geographical? It's a regional? Or people that have learned Islam from here? I learned Islam in Los Angeles, ya akhi. I learned Islam in LA with a sheikh. I don't understand what the Najdi thing is, but that's not accurate. Let's just say it's not accurate.
Neo-Salafi strand. You can choose not to expose his heresy now that he's dead, but to act like a scholar of the Sunnah died is very deceitful to the average Muslim. To Allah we complain. Now it's important
I stick to those words.
to note, right, that maintaining upright character and good manners is vitally important, especially where, we're talking about someone passing, and he was a scholar, and yes, he had, as I said, I keep mentioning, and I don't know why, but, we have to be very, very thorough with these Salafis because they got a short memory span.
We got a short memory span. ليه يا مهندس؟ ليش يا مهندس? Why do you have to say that we have a short memory span? We remember things, alhamdulillah. We're not that bad, akhi.
He had mistakes. Shaykh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi had mistakes. But likewise, your scholars will have mistakes as well. So I assure you, when,
okay,
God forbid, if someone did from the...
Okay, he had mistakes and your scholars had mistakes as well. Yani, I'm going to ask you a question, ya brother Haji. Do you really think that our issue is that he had mistakes? Do you think the issue is that he had mistakes? Can we please elaborate? Would you have not elaborated? I'm not going to play your whole video. In this entire video, not just you, brother, all of these brothers who right now are running their mouths about he had mistakes, and the people leave in the comments about, no, I don't know of anyone who, even some of the people, even the prophets made mistakes. They even included the prophets in this. Do you think we're looking at a flawless, infallible imam or a sheikh for us to make dua for him? La wallah. La wallah. And this is iftira. This is a slander. This is a lie. This is an accusation. This is an allegation against us. I know we had mistakes. Why did you not tell the people the nature of those mistakes? So when our scholars, ya brother Haji, when our scholars make mistakes, if their mistakes, wallahi alladhi la ilaha ghayruh, wallahi alladhi la ilaha ghayruh, if Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhahullah, were to make the same mistakes, I will disassociate myself from him, and I will denounce him, and I will expose him, and I will make a video warning against him. Do you think we are attached to an individual? Do you think it matters to me whether it is Yusuf Al-Qaradawi or Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan? To me, they're both scholars. One scholar is a scholar of confusion and corruption and mass killings and inviting people to commit murder, as he did with Muammar al-Qaddafi, and another one is a scholar of Sunnah. So our issue is, what type of mistakes did they have? Do not think that we're making a fuss out of this just because he had mistakes. What kind of mistakes? Let's just go briefly over some of them. First of all, he doesn't have any aqidah of wala and bara. He said about the Christians, فكل القضايا بيننا مشتركة فنحن أبناء وطن واحد مصيرنا واحد أمتنا واحدة. We have a lot of common cases and issues and struggles with the Christians. We are the children of the same country with the same destination, same end. أمتنا واحدة. Our ummah is one. أنا أقول عنهم إخواننا المسيحيين. I say about them, they are our Christian brothers, and not even Nasara, Masihiyin, which is a term that the scholars don't even acknowledge as a term for them. He said, البعض ينكر علي كيف هذا كيف أقول إخواننا المسيحيين. Some people will basically criticize me. How can I say our Christian brethren? He said, إنما المؤمنون أخوة. When the ayah says, verily the brothers are the believers are the brothers. نعم نحن مؤمنون وهم مؤمنون بوجه آخر. Yes, we are believers and they are believers in a different way. And the same show, he said about the Coptic Christians, that they have put forward thousands of martyrs. And he went on to also say about the Jews, that the issue with the Jews is not religious, it is a political issue. It is a political issue. Of course, when the Pope passed away, he made dua for him and asked Allah to have mercy on him. And he said, like a big figure and a significant person who has done a lot of good work for Christianity has passed away. And he has like a whole clip. And all of these guys you could find on YouTube. You could find those on YouTube. Look, if you just go, I hope you see what I'm seeing. If you go on YouTube and just type the deviance of Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, you could watch those clips one after the other. And if time allowed, I would actually play all of them for you, so you could hear with your own ears what this guy has said and the level of insanity that he was involved in. Rahimahullah. And I'm saying Rahimahullah because we still make dua for any Muslim. When I die, no matter how much you disagree with me, I would want you to make dua for me. And therefore, I would also make dua for any Muslim if he passes away. We still want Allah Azza wa Jal to have mercy and to forgive. However, this does not let me now compromise my principles and put him forward as some sort of sheikh of the sunnah who passed away. The people have to know the reality of these individuals. You will find three positions. A position of people that are pro deviance and they undermine it, like you're doing right now, brother Haji. Oh, it's not a big deal. He had some issues, he had some mistakes, which I don't agree with. That doesn't fix the problem, the fact that he had mistakes that you don't agree with. You have the position of people like me who are not going out of board to tell him haram to make dua for him, even though some of the scholars are of that position. You may not make dua for him and this and that, and you have to expose him and expose his evil and deviance. And people that are saying, look man, you want to make dua for him and ask Allah to forgive him, Jazakallah khair. That's nice of you as a Muslim brother, but don't promote him like he was okay, because you're deceiving the Muslims. I don't see what's wrong with my tweet. Even in my tweet, I said there's no harm. If you want to make dua for him, if you want to have your own thing, that's fine. All I'm saying is do not put him forward as a Shaykh of Islam has passed away, when he's not the Shaykh of Islam. He's the Shaykh of the deviant fatwa and the deviant stances and positions. Man, the number of Muslims that died because of the Arab Spring, all of them are in his neck. He is the first one to call himself, I'm the Shaykh. If this is makes me, if saying the truth is going to make me the Shaykh of Fitna, then I am the Shaykh of Fitna. And may Allah make me die as the Shaykh of Fitna and be gathered with the Shaykh of Fitna. Calling the Muslims to revolt and to go out against the rulers. And how many people died because of his recklessness? Allahu Akbar. We're going to act like it's all good. Wallahi ya Shaykh, it's not good at all. So he was making dua for the Pope, asking Allah to have mercy on him. And basically the level of love to the Christians is unprecedented. And you give da'wah to the Christians in Hyde Park or Speaker's Corner. Don't you feel disturbed? And is this something that you can really look lightly at? Of course, I'm not going to even discuss him allowing that you could they're okay to have their churches in the Muslim land, and that you could congratulate him for their holidays, Yasir Qadi, and that they could take positions of authority in the Wizara, and so on and so forth, from among the many things that were painful. Secondly, his position regarding the Mubtadi'ah. He was all over the place. Of course, he's Ash'ari in Aqidah, and we've said for the millionth time, the Aqidah Ash'ari is not the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. It is a deviant Aqidah. It doesn't matter how many Muslims adhere to it. It doesn't matter how many scholars in the past were of that Aqidah. It does not change the haqq. The haqq is not changed or swayed by the number of people or by the adherents and by the followers. The truth remains the truth above everybody else. So being an Ash'ari in and of itself is a calamity. In and of itself is disastrous. In and of itself is misguidance. It is sufficient that this person is denying so many of Allah's names and attributes. Things Allah said about himself that they don't accept. Things that the Prophet ﷺ said about Allah that they don't accept. And that's not something that you could look lightly about. So yes, his aqidah was corrupt, yet he would speak about the Mu'tazila and the Khawarij, and then he will praise the Mu'tazila and the Khawarij. And all of these people that went against the rulers, he was promoting them and supporting them and in favor of them. So that's something that you need to be very mindful of. As for his position, let's look at some of his wild fatwa on the matters of the Sunnah. When there's in Hadith Muslim, the Hadith of Sahih Muslim, that Prophet ﷺ said, Inna abi wa abaka finnar. He said to that man, my father and your father in hellfire. And the scholars have agreed upon that. Qaradawi said, what is the fault of Abdullah, the son of Abdul Muttalib, to be in the fire when he's from the people of the Fatra? Ahlul Fatra, meaning those people that came in between, the time in between the prophets. The interval, the time of the interval time. And the reality is that they're saved. There's a hadith that the death will come in the form of a sheep and it will be slaughtered. He said it is known and agreed according to intellect and textual evidence that the death can never be a sheep or a bull or an animal from among the animals. Him going against the hadith of Prophet ﷺ that no people will succeed if they are led by a woman. He said this is only at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the time was when the rule was restricted to men. The hadith about the Prophet ﷺ said, I didn't see any more deficient in mind and religion that will take away the mind of an intelligent man than you, basically speaking about women. He said Prophet ﷺ was joking. And the list goes on. Of course, regarding women, he allowed them to go to universities and take off their hijab for the sake of education. If they had to take sports classes, including swimming, it was allowed for them to wear bathing suits in front of strange men. So he gave the fatwa that women can basically take off their clothes and walk around or wear whatever is acceptable based on the darura in order for them to continue their education. Of course, there's a long discussion about him also watching. He supported clubs and drinking and singing and movies, and he used to listen to Kulthum and Shadia and Fairuz and Faiz Ahmed, and he would follow all types of plays and soap operas full of mockery of the religion and mockery of the deen. All these were normal for him. Of course, he allowed the shaking hand with a woman, and there was no problem in that. He said the fact that Prophet ﷺ didn't do it does not mean that it is haram. He said that another ruling Yasir Qadi followed him on is that he said the ruling of rajm, stoning, is it should be cancelled by the ul-Amr, and there's no way that the compassionate Prophet ﷺ would be following the way of the Yahud. So basically, he denied an entire penal code from the penal codes of Islam. Of course, he allowed riba, and he allowed all the people to buy in the West to buy houses or mortgages, and his fatwa are famous that have caused so much harm for the Muslim Ummah. His statements about mocking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said if Allah presented himself for voting for election, he would get 99% of the votes, no matter what his reasoning would be. This is still mocking the Prophet ﷺ. He said that the Prophet ﷺ made a mistake, that he would make mistakes in the Sharia, in giving the rulings, and that Allah Azza wa Jal had to correct him. It was somewhere up there, actually. I think I skipped it. He said that he puts forward the personal freedom over the legislation of Allah, and that he wants democracy. He wants a country with democracy. He doesn't want Sharia. Ya akhwan, only those who know Arabic and can watch these videos, please just go on YouTube and type Dalalat Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, the misguidance of Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, and you will see for yourself the amount of craziness that this individual was involved in, from Aqidah in terms of Asma and Sifat, Aqidah in terms of Wala and Bara, in terms of manhaj, in terms of course, being an Ikhwan al-Muslimin, one of the leaders and the mufti of Ikhwan al-Muslimin, another deviation, another sectarianism, another division of the Ummah. This is, my brothers and sisters, who Yusuf Al-Qaradawi was. Do I still make dua for him? Allah yarhamu. Of course, is at the end of the day, according to the scholars who consider him to be a believer. Mind you, some of them declared kufr on him because of mocking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and because of his statements of kufr about the democracy and about the personal freedom being given precedence over the sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so many other things. We're just going to assume that he repented from those and that he was a Muslim. Make dua for him, but do not suddenly become the simp compassionate imam as what's his name says all the time, in spite of his many issues. Allah yahdi, also that guy. Do not become a funny person and try to act like it's all gravy, and come on and tell the people, yeah, look at these pseudo Salafis, they're crazy, they don't leave anyone alone, they're all over the place, yeah, Sheikh, he made mistakes, everybody make mistakes. Yeah, tu'bur adami, we all make mistakes. If you only made some mistakes, nobody would even care. Tell me a Sheikh that passed away that didn't make mistakes. None. Shaykh bin Baz rahimahullah, Shaikh Ibn Uthaimeen, Shaykh Al-Albani, Shaykh Abd Rahman Nasir Al-Sa'di. We don't know of any scholar that didn't have an issue, a fatwa that was off, that was a shadh, that was not in line with what is norm and what is standard. No problem. No problem. Ala rahib was-sa'a. But tell it as it is. Mention to the people all of these calamities, and then say to them, okay, you want to go make dua for him? Go ahead. No problem, make a post about it. But don't go post it like, la, the Sheikh passed away, rahimahullah, wa adkhalahu fasih jannati wa ja'ala mathwaha al-firdaws al-a'la, and then act like, hey, yo, what about these calamities? Oh, yo, those calamities, I don't know what you're talking about. No, you gotta know. You gotta know. So it's not bitterness, shocking bitterness of pseudo Salafi. I don't have any bitterness. I am simply too jealous for the deen of Allah, just like you should be, brother Haji, just like all of y'all should be. I have too much jealousy and too much appreciation for the deen of Allah and for the truth for me to be a fan of any individual. You talk about bootlicking, which you can't help but insult us with this bootlicking business. Allah yahdik. I hope this term, you sleep one night and you wake up in the morning with this term out of your dictionary. That would be great news, wallah. Akhi, if you want to call us bootlickers, wallahi, this is the same mentality that you have. You are bootlickers of any individual out there. No matter how deviant he is, you will overlook his deviance for the sake of I don't know what. That's also a form of bootlicking. What's the difference between us? We're doing it according to you. We're simply telling you, obey the Prophet ﷺ when it comes to the rulers. And you want us to do khuruj, or you want us to not to be in line with the sunnah for whatever reason. Still don't understand why this is an issue for you. On the flip side, here you are, all over the place, clapping and drumming and being enthusiastic about every Tom, Dick and Harry, including deviant people that you yourself don't agree with. But the level of disagreement is not a minor one. It's a grave one. So I'm not bitter. I simply appreciate the truth. Any scholar that promotes the truth, we're going to show love to him. And we're not going to follow him in his mistakes. But when a person's legacy, when the legacy they leave behind is so evil, just al-thawra al-Arabiyya, thawrat al-Rabi' al-Arabi, that in and of itself, uqsum billah, that in itself is one of the scariest things. The number of people that died because of his enticement to the people and calling them, him telling someone on video, on TV, whoever can kill Muammar al-Qaddafi, let kill him and save the Bilad and the Ibad from his evil, after he had taken pictures with him and he was promoting him. Same thing with Saddam Hussein. He went on and mocked the floor with Saddam Hussein and called him the worst of names. Then after he died, he suddenly made a video about what a hero Saddam Hussein was. This guy is a political individual. Like all the Ikhwanis, they're political individuals. They're swayed by their political views and political advantages. They just want the chair. We don't have any bitterness, Habibi, but we are honest, straightforward people. When I see a Deobandi, I'm going to call him out for his Deobandism. When I see a Barelvi, I'm going to call him out. When I see an Ash'ari, I'm going to call him out. We don't change colors. Y'all change colors. Every day we look at the group of affiliation you guys are in. Fulan is suddenly these All Islam Productions are putting videos of Muhammad Hijab. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Those guys who are anti-Salafi to the bone, and Muhammad Hijab, who claims to be a Salafi, they are putting videos of Muhammad Hijab because he's praising Al-Ghazali, who was the biggest, Ash'ari and Sufi. You see the craziness out there? This is how y'all play. We don't play like this. And you know that I'm not of those other guys, right? You want to put me in the same level as the Spubs? You know I'm not with Spubs. You know they have issues with me. So you can't even claim that I'm like all of your, all these comments saying that I'm the classic example of a pseudo-Salafi. On the contrary, I'm very balanced. But, that's what he put forward, and that's what he gets. And to Allah Azza wa Jal we complain about the affair. And if you guys are fair, then you will at least do your own research, find out what Yasir Qaradawi was about. Afterwards, knock yourself out and make dua for him. But don't be acting like he was a Sunni scholar calling to the Sunnah, because unfortunately he was not. And the crimes that he has, both theological, jurisprudential and political, are way too many for us to ignore and pretend that they don't exist. هذا والله أعلم وبالله التوفيق. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.